Britain's 6 biggest banks are, as you might imagine, intimately connected, not only with each other, but with all the businesses covered in realglobalnews.com's biggest UK companies. They are the backbone of a system of production and exchange that involves the whole body of issues probed by Real Global News. This is Real Global News' introductory film on banking.
Let's see what we can do. You were thinking about a business loan, weren't you?
At Barclays, our customer service program means in our future, business customers can expect expert advice, and when you need more help, someone to come out and visit you.
Barclays started as a peace-loving Quaker institution that soon became intimately related to the slave trade that killed millions. After 2.5 centuries, it was bankrolling the nuclear ambitions of apartheid South Africa and dictators like South American generals Pinochet and Galtieri. Aside from funding the use of torture equipment, it has always been a prominent player in aiding corrupt capital flight from African countries, notably Congo, Somalia, and Sudan, as well as being keen to help Burma's generals, and now Robert Mugabe in Zimbabwe. Halifax Bank of Scotland, or HBOS, is a more recent phenomenon. Halifax was a society set up in the wake of the Industrial Revolution, which moved the populace from country to town in Britain, as a cooperative type of institution for poor people to save up to buy property. In a century and a half, it merged with other building societies and the private sector health insurance, clerical medical. In 2001, it took over the Bank of Scotland, Britain's oldest surviving bank, founded at the end of the 17th century and responsible for facilitating the funding of the Jacobite rebellion.
This is what the homosexuals can do. They don't really care about how much they destroy.
Bank of Scotland more recently hit the news for tying up with US homophobic televangelist Pat Robertson. In 2007, HBOS was blamed by savers in the Fairfax scandal, where the poorest, saving pennies for Christmas, were all prevented from buying Christmas presents for their children. Christian Aid highlighted HBOS's levying of ever higher debt payments from Africa in the 1990s, as the bank admitted that it would deal with third world debt in the best interests of shareholders and depositors, rather than the millions dying. HBOS is also the banker to Associated British Foods, the company with the worst record for factory farming and genetic engineering, according to the Ethical Consumer Research Organisation in Britain.
It's not just about reaching your goals, it's about reaching your dreams too. Now with HSBC Direct Online.
HSBC's beginnings lie in the British desire to turn China into a nation of opium addicts. The bank has since been involved in so many scandals that have involved the killing of so many millions of people, it's hard to know where to start. Chilean dictator General Pinochet used HSBC to funnel away gold. The bank has been implicated in helping North Korea. It had a part to play in the $15 million a day that Nigerian dictator Sani Abacha stole and put in Swiss bank accounts. HSBC regularly met with Saddam Hussein's Rafidain Bank. In the United Arab Emirates, HSBC was tied to indicted money laundered by Victor Bout, who the United Nations says was a key embargo buster when it came to helping the Taliban. High-profile resignations and massive payoffs have been the hallmark of HSBC in 2007, as the company suffers financially for poor lending strategy and the fallout of its biggest acquisition, U.S. mortgage company Household International, which it bought for $18 billion in 2003. The Royal Bank of Scotland, the first in the world to offer overdrafts, was the royalist bank that in 1727 benefited from the rival Bank of Scotland's reputation as being Jacobite. More recently it was implicated in the Enron scandal, but RBS, which now includes NatWest Bank, has been involved in the affairs of 20th century dictators from Hitler onwards. The US Bankruptcy Court found RBS to have aided Enron officers in breaching fiduciary duties. After 9/11, the bank admitted to the Federal Reserve that it facilitated transactions for al-Qaeda via the Afghan bank al-Baraka.
Tarafada şey yapılıyor, sanko iskele yapıyor. Sanko da iskele yaptığı zaman bu barınağın kapanması lazım. Oranın da yasağı çıktı.
It is currently funding the environmental and humanitarian catastrophe that is the Caspian Baki-Tbilisi-Ceyhan pipeline. Like other banks in this film, it helped to finance the mass deforestation, 72% is gone, of Indonesia, according to Friends of the Earth, with a $100 million loan even after some banks pulled out. The bank was accused of racist lending practices in the United States by Fair Finance Watch.